Welcome to episode 61 of our series on the surnames of Appalachia and the American South. On today's show, we will cover the origins and meanings of 8 more surnames. Some of them are Americanized forms of older family names in England. It promises to be a good show, so I hope you'll join me. Let's get started. Number 1, Collett. While there are people with the surname of Collett in Scandinavia and Great Britain, it's nonetheless a French Teutonic surname that uses the French ET for a diminutive modification of the name Cole, like Little Cole. It no doubt came into the Isles with the Normans in the 11th century. Today it's generally thought of as an English surname of French Teutonic origin. I couldn't find Collett among the traditional surnames of Scotland, Wales, or Ireland. A bit closer to home though, there's a large and successful commercial real estate company in Charlotte, North Carolina that features the name Collett. At the end of the day, I think we're safe in calling Collett an English surname with deeper origins in Northern Europe and France. Number 2, sample or samples. If you're at least 55 years old or older and have any connection at all to Appalachia in the South, you will have no doubt heard of a 6th grade dropout from Cumming, Georgia, who turned a fishing tale on a radio program into a 14-year career as a comedian on a national TV show. Each week on Hee Haw, he would present a broken down car for sale and then give the number BR549 to call to find out more information about that week's special. His real name was Alvin Samples Jr. In true Southern form, Samples became known as Junior Samples. Now, my dad was Harry Mac Van Jr. and put his middle name in there too, but everyone just called him Junior. I also have a first cousin once removed named Alvin Flowers Jr. He's still known today as Junior Flowers. Junior Samples would most likely have been surprised to learn that his family name, like Collett, was of French origin. It was a form of St. Paul. The S on the end of Sample was used to identify the son of Sample. Also, like Collett, I couldn't find samples among any of the traditional surnames of Ireland, Scotland, or Wales. This is an English surname with deeper roots in Catholic France. Number 3, Scruggs. This is a week to recognize yet another Southern luminary, Earl Scruggs. His surname, at first glance, seems to have a distinct origin story to that of the Scottish Scroggs. Scruggs, after all, doesn't appear in any of my books on Scotland, Ireland, Wales, or England. As a result, I dove into the Dictionary of American Family Names, and there I found that Scruggs is theorized to be an Americanized form of the Scottish Scroggs. That makes a lot of sense to me because the roots of bluegrass are Celtic, especially Ireland and Scotland. At the end of the day, I contend that Scruggs is an Americanized form of the Scottish Scroggs. In Scotland, by the way, it was a locational name tied to the Barony of Stobo. Lastly, I found some evidence to support the Dictionary of American Family Names in arguing that Scroggs originated as a Middle English word for brushwood or bushes. That doesn't mean that the name is English, of course. It was adopted first, as far as I can tell, in Scotland. Number 4, McCann. The MC prefix tells us right off the bat that this name is either Scottish or Irish. Now you might be wondering why Wales or Brittany and France couldn't also be the origin of MC surnames. Well, after all, they're all Celtic areas, so why not then? Well, it's because Wales, Cornwall, and Brittany were Celtic lands for sure, but they spoke a Brythonic Celtic language. The folks on the Emerald Isle, Ireland, the Isle of Man, Ellan, Vannin, and Scotland spoke Goidelic Celtic languages that we call Manx, Irish, and Scottish Gaelic respectively. Upon closer investigation, I found that McCann is an Irish name for the son of the wolf pup. It doesn't appear among the traditional surnames of any other country, so I think that this surname, which is a sept of the larger clan Brassill, is an Irish family name. Number 5, Hill. Well, at first glance, I would imagine that this is an English name for a person who lived on a hill. Sometimes, simple names can have multiple origin stories, but as it turns out, Hill is an English name for one who lived on a hill. With that stated though, Hill is found among the traditional surnames of Scotland. It's found in the Scottish records dating back to 1271. That's a long time ago. That's before William Wallace rose to prominence. Hill is also found among the surnames of Ulster. That's not a surprise either, because there were quite a few English settlers in Ulster during the plantation era of the early 1600s. Despite being an English surname, your name may well have come to America from Ireland or Scotland. I think you'll need a paper trail to locate the origin of your specific line. Number 6, Skaggs. Well, here we have yet another surname associated with a Southern or Appalachian entertainer. Do you remember Ricky Skaggs? Ricky was the 61st member of the Grand Ole Opry. He was born and raised in Lawrence County, Kentucky, near the Big Sandy River and the West Virginia state line. At the end of the day, I have to say that Skaggs is an Americanized form of the English name Skeggs. It means the son of Skegg. But who was Skegg? He was most likely a Viking, because Skegg was an Old Norse name for a man with a beard. It's not found among the traditional surnames of Ireland, Scotland, or Wales, so I think we're safe in calling Skaggs an Americanized Anglo-Norse surname. Number 7, Sparks. It's a good thing that my research on the Sparks takes me away from the images of old Sparky popping up in my head. In case you haven't heard that term before, it was used to identify electric chairs, electrocution chairs that is, not electric chairs that rises up and down, that were once used commonly across the South and the Midwest. You might find this interesting. The last person in the United States to be executed by electric chair without an option was a cop killer named Linda Lyon Block. She met her toasty end on May 10, 2002 in Alabama. She was the 9th female executed in the U.S. since the reinstatement of the death penalty in 1976. Like Skaggs, the Sparks surname entered the Isles with the Vikings. It was an Old Norse nickname for a gallant man. Now, while Sparks isn't found among the traditional surnames of Ireland, it's been in the Scottish records, specifically Irvine area, since the 16th century. Still, it's not widespread in the Bonnie Land. It's not found either among the traditional names of Ireland or Wales. So I think you'll need a paper trail to locate the origin of your specific line of Sparks. It's either Scotland or England. I'm pretty sure about that. Number 8, Sturgill or Stodghill. When I received this request, I was quite happy to cover it. I was ordained a deacon in the Presbyterian Church in America in 1995. My teaching elder was Dr. John Stodghill. While he was a diminutive fellow, he was a giant in my mind and in my eyes. He knew theology extremely well, and he gave of himself all the time. I was honored and blessed to know him. Dr. Stodghill was keenly interested in all things Scottish, despite wearing an English surname of dubious meaning. The surname, according to the Dictionary of American Family Names, most likely originated in Somerset, England. It's not found in with any of its spellings among the traditional surnames of Ireland, Scotland, or Wales, so I think we're safe in calling Sturgill or Stodghill an Americanized form of an English surname. Well, folks, that's about all I have for you today. I hope you got something meaningful out of our discussion. And if you did, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If demand continues to warrant it, I'll be back again soon with another episode of The Vantage Point. Until I see you again, God bless you and yours. Bye-bye.